Hello Planeswalkers! Andrew here, bringing you a special deck tech. It's special in a number of ways, the main difference being that this is a themed deck based on the Mario franchise rather than being a focused EDH deck. For that reason, this deck is weaker than most decks that we talk about here on Partners With. Additionally, I'll only be going over the cards that represent Mario characters and items in detail. Every other card in the deck will be displayed in the same format you're used to seeing from my deck techs at the end of the video. Also, a special thanks to Cardforger. They aren't sponsoring this video or anything, I just used their website to create the special Mario editions of these cards. Go check them out. And with all that out of the way, let's jump into the Super Mario Bros. Deck tech. The most important part of any EDH deck is, of course, your commander. Commander of our Mario-themed deck is Shattergang Bros. It's a 3/3 legendary Goblin Artificer, and while the Goblin typing doesn't match Mario and Luigi exactly, the Artificer typing is pretty close to Plumber and Carpenter. Also, Goblins are short, and Mario's confirmed to be shorter than normal humans, so Goblin kind of works as well. Shattergang Bros. Costs 1 black, red, green, and has 3 abilities. Pay 2 and a black, sacrifice a creature. Each other player sacrifices a creature. You can pay 2 and a red and sack an artifact, or pay 2 and a green and sack an enchantment, to do the same thing for the respective permanent types as well. Obviously, the red-green color combo is a must for the Mario Bros, and while black coloring doesn't align with the characters, it does enable us to run more creatures that represent Mario characters. It also goes without saying that this deck is an aristocrat-style deck that focuses on sacrificing our stuff to do more stuff. To represent Mario and Luigi's princesses, we've got Jade Mage as Princess Peach, and Tana the Bloodsower as Princess Daisy. Jade Mage creates Saprolings, or Toads, for mana, and Tana creates Saprolings when she deals combat damage. It's worth noting before I continue that many of these cards are just loose representations of the characters. There's no princess with blonde hair and a pink dress that can perfectly represent Princess Peach, and the same goes for all the characters. I still think I did a pretty alright job with matching them all up. Some of our good guys in this list include Sakura Tribe Elder, representing Koops' grandfather from Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. He's a classic, you know him well. Slimefoot the Stowaway is Toadsworth, and he says whenever a Saproling you control dies, he deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. You can also pay 4 into him to create a 1/1 Saproling. Spore Crown Thalid is Toadette, and she makes your fungi and Saprolings 1/1 bigger. Thalid's Shell Dweller is Toad, and he's got Defender. You put a Spore counter on him at the start of each upkeep, and you can remove 3 Spore counters from him to create a 1/1 green Saproling. As you can likely tell by this point, the deck makes a ton of Saproling tokens, both fitting into the Mushroom Kingdom aesthetic, as well as the Shattergang Bros Aristocrats playstyle. Whip Tongue Hydra is Yoshi, and he's got Reach, and when he enters, destroy all creatures with flying. He gets a +1/+1 counter for each creature destroyed this way. Finally, representing Rosalina and Luma is Eternal Witness, which returns a card from your grave to your hand when she enters. What are good heroes without good rivals to oppose them? Mario and Luigi have to have Wario and Waluigi, of course. Zulaport Cutthroat is Wario, and Ollie from Cavro is Waluigi. Zulaport Cutthroat causes every opponent to lose 1 life and you to gain 1 life whenever it or another creature you control dies. Ollie from Cafro causes any damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1, reduce it to 1 instead, essentially making you immune to losing via damage for as long as you control him. Or at least that's what I would say, if Ollie didn't cost more than $100. Even Magic's equivalent of Waluigi is godly, apparently. If you have deep pockets, you can acquire Waluigi for this deck. For the purposes of this deck tech, however, I won't be including him in the deck list. Transitioning from rivals to outright villains, Bowser is represented by Corvold, Fey Cursed King, who would undoubtedly be a superior commander for this deck. But this isn't a Bowser-themed deck, is it? Either way, you can swap him for your commander if you so choose, and the theming wouldn't be too broken. Corvold has flying, and whenever he enters or attacks, you sack another permanent. Whenever you sack a permanent, he gets a +1/+1 counter and you draw a card. Furnace Whelp is Bowser's rowdy crotch goblin, Bowser Jr., who's got flying, and you can pay red to give him +1/+0 for the turn. For Goombas, we've got Deathbloom Thalid, which creates a 1/1 green Saproling token when it dies, as is the fate of all Goombas in the Mushroom Kingdom. As for Koopa Troopas, we've got Meandering Tower Shell, a 5/9 with Island Walk. The downside is that it can only attack every other turn, since tapping it to attack causes it to be exiled, returning only at the start of your next turn's combat phase, tapped and attacking. I think this sums up Koopa Troopa's slow nature quite well. But the peons of the Koopa army aren't the only soldiers at Bowser's disposal. We've also got Piranha Plants, represented by Genesis Hydra, which is an X-cost spell that has you reveal the top X cards of your library when you cast it. You may put an on-land permanent card with CMC X or less from among them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It also enters with X+1/+1 counters on it. Kamek, and really all other Magic Koopas, are represented by Jund Battle Mage, which can either tap for a black to make a player lose a life, or tap for a green and put a 1/1 green Sapperling token onto the field. Just imagine the Mario Bros side making Toads and Bowser's side making Goombas, even though they're all Sapperlings. The last classic Mario enemy we've got is Hammerbro, represented by Steelbane Hydra. It's another X-cost spell that enters with X+1/+1 counters on it, and you can pay 2 and a green to remove a +1/+1 counter from it to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Moving on to less well-known Mario enemies, we've got a load of dragons from the Paper Mario series. Bladewing the Risen is Fractale from Super Paper Mario. It's got flying, and when it enters, you may return target dragon permanent from your grave to the battlefield. You can also pay black-red into it to give all dragons +1/+1 until the end of the turn. I believe this means all dragons, not just yours, so be careful. These other three are from Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Broodmate Dragon is Hooktail, and she's got flying, and when she enters, create a 4/4 red dragon token with flying. Karthus, Tyrant of Jund, is Bonetail, and has flying and haste. When it enters, gain control of all dragons, then untap all dragons. Other dragons you control have haste. Coupled with Bladewing, you can just steal everyone else's dragons, pump them with Bladewing, and obliterate your foes. Finally, for Gloomtail, we have Kolagon the Storm's Fury. She's got flying, and whenever a dragon you control attacks, creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of the turn. It also has a dash cost of 3 black-red. For our last batch of Mario-themed cards are non-creature permanents and non-permanent spells. Chromatic Star is our resident Starman, which you can pay 1, tap and sack it to add 1 mana of any color. When it's put into the graveyard from play, you may draw a card. Ill-Gotten Inheritance is one of 2 coin-based cards, which deals 1 damage to each opponent and gains you 1 life at the start of each of your upkeeps. You can also pay 5 and a black and sack it to deal 4 damage to target opponent and gain 4 life. I put Wario from Wario Land Shake It on the card, because he's holding a bag of money. Revel in Riches has got Mario with a stack of coins on it, and it has, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap and sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. In this deck, this card is especially powerful, since you can pay into the Bros to sacrifice one of your no doubt numerous Sapperling tokens, and force your opponents to each sack a creature, generating 3 treasure tokens whenever you do this. If you manage to keep Revel in Riches and the Bros for long enough, you can sack 4 of your creatures for 12 mana and create 12 treasure tokens just before the start of your turn. Spicy. Now, as promised, an image outlining the entirety of the deck, not just the Mario cards. As usual, the deck list will also be available on MTG Goldfish in the description of this video. This is just a fun deck to play, even though it's not the best out there. This is closer to Tyler's way of building decks, where you build it with one aesthetic or theme in mind rather than just building the best deck you can afford. It's a nice change, and it's been a lot of fun to work on. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and leave a comment letting us know what you think. If you want to see more from us in the future, think about throwing a sub our way. Y'all have a great day.